description, and that will be much more helpful.
Yeah, sure. I think it is
Because
on NHA GitHub as well,
yeah,
but I will share here as well.
I okay, sorry, I just now saw that actually. Will unshare my son.
Any more questions?
Hey, Mohit, I think what we can do for everyone's
Hmm.
reference, because they have some context on the API, so we can
Hmm.
probably walk them through the Swagger that we have shared, and how do we basically maintain the versions of that. So just a sandbox Swagger that we have created. If you can
Okay.
just walk through the search APIs and let's go over the header documentation as well, so that everyone who has not tried yet, they can also figure out what are the key value pairs that are there in the header part, right?
Okay, I will just
Yeah,
first go through the Swagger.
yeah.
So this is the API documentation for all the APIs that we have. And if we see, we have total 5 versions of this currently. So let's go with the latest one. So this is the basic information that you can refer, like what is UHI and what protocol we are referring to. So essentially, we are using DHP protocol, which is decentralized health protocol, and on that basis, we have came up with this API structure. So if we see, we have many sections over here, but let's focus on UHI gateway. And here we have two APIs, search and on search. So if we see the search API, so this is basically the discovery API. So for example, any patient or any EUA, that is end user application, wants to search for any health service. So for example, they want to look for any doctor in cardiology, or they can also search by doctor name. So let's say if a patient wants a doctor from cardiology, so they can trigger this search request based on the intents that we have, and they will get one response from HSPA, that is the on search response. So let me go through this search first. So here, if we see, we have many intents for this search API. So patient can search by doctor specialty. As I just mentioned, patient can search, for example, he or she may want a doctor from cardiology or general medicine or ENT, for example. Then they can search by the doctor specialty as well. They can also search by doctor name along with specialty. They can also search by the hospital name along with doctor specialty, the unique address of the doctor as well, that is HPR address, and the doctor name. So based on that, the search request will change. Now, if we see, we have two main parts over here. First is the context part. Context is basically the basic information about your request. So, for example, uh, the protocol version that we are referring to. Now, the important part here is the consumer ID. So, this is nothing but the subscriber ID that is assigned to your EUA. So, that ID should be mentioned here. Along with that, we also have the callback URL for your end user application, where HSPA should respond back to the EUA. HSPA or UHI gateway should respond back to EUA. And we have two IDs for any request. Now, the message ID is one of the IDs. This basically differentiates between each and every request that we send. So, for example, the search request has different message ID. On search will have different message ID, another message ID, and rest of the APIs will have different message IDs. Now, The transaction ID is another ID, but it has a broader scope. It basically lasts till the appointment confirmation, and it won't change for each and every request. So to explain that, we have a few APIs till this confirm, basically a couple of APIs to help user to confirm the appointment. So that, let's assume that's one session. So till confirmation of the appointment, this transaction ID will remain same. So this is for one session. Now let's come to the message part. Now this is for search doctor by specialty, right? So that's why we have this category array, and inside we are mentioning specialty. So here the EUA or patient wants to look for a doctor from cardiology. That's why we have mentioned cardiology. Once that done, next part is fulfillment. Now fulfillment essentially contains the timestamp at which patient is looking an appointment for. Now here the start and end times are mentioned as per patient's convenience. And one important part here as well is the type, which is nothing but the type of consultation. Currently, we support online consultation, which is teleconsultation. And the next part we also have is the physical consultation, where patient can take consultation in front of doctor. And this is online consultation. So in case of physical consultation, the type will change to physical. Rest it will be online for teleconsultation. And the last part here is the item, which is nothing but the the consultation we are mentioning here, because currently we only support consultation, and this is hard coded currently because a patient wants to book an appointment and this is a consultation request. That's why the item is consultation. Now the next part here, so let's focus on how this request will change. So essentially context part will remain same again. This won't change. The change is in the message part. Now if we see here, we are searching by doctor specialty along with doctor name. So the doctor specialty is there and the doctor's name is added under fulfillments. Okay, so here patient is looking for Dr. Ganesh. That's why it is mentioned Dr. Ganesh, the name of the doctor mentioned as Ganesh. And the item is again same. So in this way, this will change. Now again, we also have this facility, right? Facility is nothing but the hospital name. So the hospital name is added under provider. So in this way, the request message will change based on the intent. So you can go through it and then probably uh, after a few attempts, you can get this. Okay, so the next part is again the response that we get for these discovery that we are looking for. Now every API has a co-API. As we can see, search has on search. Now why do we have this? Because the entire process here is asynchronous. And once a patient or any EUA triggers discovery, then it will go through the UHI gateway and then it will be broadcasted to HSPs. And then HSPs would normally take certain amount of time to process and respond back. So that's why there is a lag between that. To accommodate this, basically, we shouldn't block the end user application to to one API, right? So this entire process should be asynchronous. It shouldn't be a blocking call. So that's why we have this on search API where once HSPS identifies what doctor it is having and what services it can provide based on the request that patient has sent, it will take its time and then it will generate one response, and then it will send that response back to the UHI gateway and in turn back to the EUA. So this is that response. Now in the context part, there is one change. In case of on search, this provider ID and provider URI is added. This is similar to the consumer ID and URI, but this is for HSPA. Now this is the subscriber ID for HSPA and the URI on which EUA should call back if EUA wants to communicate with HSPA. So this is the link for HSPA, that is provider URI. Rest everything should be same. Again, if we go to the message, now here uh, on the top, I mean in the search, we had this intent, right? Now this has been changed to catalog because HSPA is now showcasing what services it is providing. So that's why it is mentioned under catalog. Again, it contains basic information about HSPAs, like the name of the HSPA. It also has the hospital name. And here we have the specialty of doctor that is mentioned under categories. Now, categories is an array, and this contains specialties of doctors that HSPA is offering. Now, what doctors HSPA is offering? So that is mentioned under fulfillments. So fulfillments is another array which contains the doctor details. So as we can see, fulfillment contains agent, and under agent we have doctor details. Like the name of the doctor is Ganesh Borse. The ID of the doctor is also mentioned, and other basic information like the gender of the doctor and the experience, language he or she may speak, education, and again time frame in which the doctor is available. So this is, we can say this is a time slot for that doctor. Again, type is teleconsultation. That's why it is online. And it HSPA can provide multiple doctors. As we can see, we have two doctors here with same name, but I guess the ID is different. Here it is HPR.ABDM. Here it is HPR.NDHM. So ID is different. So doctors are different. Again, this information is again same, like the experience, languages, and the ID of the doctor along with the consultation time slot. Now we have saw the specialty of doctors, right? So there is one question. What doctor is having what specialty over here, right? That mapping has not been yet done. So that is mapped under this items array. So if we see, we have two objects under this items array, and this should match with number of doctors. So we are having two doctors. That's why we should have two items. So this should match with number of doctors. That's the first thing. Now next thing is inside each object, we have this category ID and fulfillment ID. Now let's go to the fulfillment ID first. Now fulfillment ID is nothing but the doctor's ID that we have. So here, if I go to the first item, the fulfillment ID is 0, right? So that is mapped to this zeroth element of fulfillment, which is Dr. Ganesh Borse @hpr.abdm. And again, we have category ID for this as well. So for Dr. 0, we have category 0. So let's go above and see the category 0, which is this. So for Dr. 0, we have this specialty. So in this fashion, it is mapped. So items is the important part here, which essentially binds the doctor and its specialty. And the last part here is the location. This contains the basic address information of hospital. So we have the hospital description, city, country. We also have its GPS coordinates and full address. So this should be the response of HSPA for the search request. Any questions still here?
Yeah, if there are any questions, happy to take that up. I mean, it's just very important to understand in the whole UHI architecture that the only the first search is that is something going through the gateway. Post
Yes,
that,
right.
everything happens peer to peer, right? So it's only one thing, that the first search that is being broadcasted by the gateway to all the providers, the health service providers on the other side. After that, once the endpoints are established during the
What
first search,
verify?
and yes, so that's when I think the everything moves peer to peer. So I think that is what Mohit was also trying to explain, the search part. If there are any questions, happy to take that up. Otherwise, we can move to the security header documentation, Mohit, and just help them understand what Umesh sir was also asking. The what are the different parameters mean, and how do they actually get it? Where are they coming from? Yeah.
Let me just add to the Pankaj's point. So he was mentioning like from next part. So after discovery, right? The communication is peer to peer. So for that purpose, on the
So
first on
lookup
search,
API.
yes.
Lookup API. I think so. Verification of that the message has come from right place.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Uh, that whatever the public ID that lookup API.
Mm-hmm.
You said na there is some
Yes,
lookup
yes,
API is there so that
yes.
you can get a public ID of that how to get that
Okay,
how to
I
get
will
the
show you.
public key of UA that. Um,
Yeah, Mohit, I think Umesh sir is asking
mm.
about the lookup API that's there in the network
Yes,
registry,
yes.
right? So,
So if we see here, this is the uh, link for UHI gateway. And through this, we are calling this lookup endpoint. And if we see,
Okay.
we have to specify the subscriber ID first of the
Okay.
partner that we are looking for. Its type, whether it's CUA or HSPA. Currently, the domain is fixed, and this domain is for teleconsultation. So this is NIC
Mm.
85111. Country should be India, and the city of the HSPA or EUA based on this type. So whether this is active in, I mean, you should specify the city where this partner is active, and along with the public key ID. So if we hit this, we should get a response, and if we see here, we get this encryption public key. Now this public key we can use for decryption purpose.
So you said a domain is for a teleconsultation, physical can be different or the
Yes,
same.
it should,
One
no,
domain
it will
for
be different.
yeah, Umesh sir, the
okay.
domains will be different, and I think those are published on the. So there is a mandatory requirement sheet. Happy to share that across. And this is something that is very UHI specific. So currently we are using the NIC specification for that. But later on, we might
Okay.
just change it to a UHI specification because it's something that needs to be understood across the network. So it's something that's common to the network. We are currently following the NIC specification, but we can change it based on later when there is a need. So currently, I think teleconsultation and physical consultation, they share the same domain. The other services, which are the ambulance, lab diagnostics, and blood banks and all, they have a different code. Uh, but yeah, I mean, we can further divide it on the basis of what services are there. Currently, you can distinguish between a teleconsultation and a physical consultation based on the fulfillment type. So Mohit would have walked you through on the search part that if a
Yeah.
patient is looking for a teleconsultation, the fulfillment is online, right? And if they're looking for a physical consultation, the fulfillment is in a physical mode. So those are the distinctions that can be used along with the domains to identify whether it's a teleconsultation or a physical consultation. But yeah, I mean, so that's the short bit on the domain part.
Mm, mm,
So Pankaj is referring to this basically. Type. Type under
got it.
fulfillments.
Okay. Mm,
So this is how you get public key.
mm. I have to use that public key for verification of that
Decryption. Yes, yes. Correct.
encryption. Oh, mm, mm.
Any more questions?
Hi Mohit, can you also show the API or the search API from the postman because I am getting one error, internal server error in that API.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm passing this in request payload.
Okay. Have you registered yourself in UHI?
Yeah. From that only we got this subscriber ID.
Okay. Can you scroll down? Intent fulfillment online. Scroll down. Agent name Ganesh. We must be having start and end, right?
Yes.
Scroll down, please.
So I have took this from the GitHub link that is shared during the onboarding.
Okay. Let me just check from here. Can you take the latest Postman collection, which is on GitHub?
I think this is the latest.
Mohit, can you share the link on the chat if it's
Sure.
I think the chat is not visible to us. Can you share that on that WhatsApp group?
yes, Namrata. Let me just share that. Yeah, give me that.
I cannot see chat option over here. Pankaj?
Yeah, I'm just sharing it on the WhatsApp group. So you can
Okay.
see it.
Okay.
So I have taken from this link.
Were you referring main branch or it was something different?
Yeah,
Main.
main branch only.
Because I have just tried, it is working at my end.
Namrata, it's there on the WhatsApp chat. If you can just open up.
I think this is the same. Uh,
So has everyone gone through the header structure, or you are completely new to UHI header part, the encryption and header part?
I think
Uh,
they are new,
First
Mohit.
person
They
new.
haven't. They're just starting out. So
Acha.
I think this is the same. So I have took the latest collection only.
Mohit, just check if the details are matching. I mean, the callback URL and the network history and everything. I think that could be an issue.
Should
Sure,
I
we
share
will
this
take this.
call?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Uh, should I share it on WhatsApp only?
Pankaj.
Yeah, yeah, please.
So please look into that and let me know what was the problem.
Sure, Namrata. Yes. For now, have you tried importing the Postman collection from GitHub?
Yeah, I have used the same Postman collection.
Okay, okay.
I got this link after filling the
But
onboarding form and
you okay, but you have changed the consumer URI and subscriber ID, right?
yes, yes, and the timestamp and other things I have changed.
And have you generated header for your payload?
Yes, yeah, yeah. So I have downloaded the header utility uh,
Okay,
utility project from GitHub, which will give the headers.
okay, okay. We'll check
Yeah.
this
So
offline.
yeah, yeah. Earlier, matlab first time it was giving like if the header is wrong, then it is giving that header authentication is failed.
Yeah, correct,
So
correct. So yeah, that basically we get when our header is not matching with payload. But seems like
yeah,
it's a different issue. We will check this.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
So let me just walk you through this documentation. So this documentation contains the process of signing UHI apps, I essentially to generate the header. And let me just go through this important part here. So this is the basic structure of header. Now, if I copy this, so let's copy this JSON structure and let's see this in JSON viewer. So we have a few couple of fields here. So one is the created and expires part. So basically self-explanatory. This contains the
What is
timestamp of,
TTL? TTL. There is something TTL mentioned
sorry,
in that documentation. Not figure it out. TTL should be less than something it came. It was there in the documentation. There is some
can you
TTL
point
there
me?
down. It's maybe
Can
down.
you?
Maybe down.
Okay,
In the created date and expiry date, this one, there is something TTL. I don't know. It is mentioned there. I could not understand. Maybe up
okay,
somewhere. You can just
okay. Let
put
me
T.
go through that later.
Okay.
After this. So
Hmm.
basically, this contains the timestamp at which this header is created, and we also have the expiry of the header that is mentioned under expires. And the signature part is basically the encrypted payload, which is generated after using private key of the EUA or HSPA that is signing this header. So for example, you are sending search request to UHI gateway. So you need to encrypt this payload using your private key and you have to generate this signature. So that signature is mentioned over here. The next part is key ID that I have just mentioned in the start of this call. So basically we have this subscriber ID of the sender we have the public key ID of the sender, and along with this is the algorithm that we are using to encrypt this. And the algorithm is ED25519. So this is the basic uh, structure of the header. So if I go inside this document, now what you were mentioning, TTL.
ETL something you can somewhere I did there. Find you can use control find ETL.
It's the Mohit, the
It
time
is
to live.
mentioned
That's
there.
the
For
So
created and
TTL is nothing but
expiry, that
expires.
difference or something should be TTL. It was
ETL is nothing but expires. So the timestamp
something
at which
like
this
that.
header will be
I don't
expired.
understand that actually.
So your
Sorry.
header basically has expiry. It doesn't last for indefinite time. So you have to mention the expiry timestamp at which the header will be expired. So that is nothing but TTL.
No, something
I
difference
hope
between
you.
the created and expired field should be equal to TTL. It is there written there.
That is correct.
Hmm.
So basically, at that duration, your header will be active. After that, it will be deactivated.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I hope I resolved your query.
The TTL is we not bother only the time of the expiry should be more than the created.
Yes, yes, definitely.
That's all. That's all it is for
That
us.
should
Okay.
be that should be greater.
That's all. Mm.
And yeah, where we were. So this is the sample payload and the key pair. This is how the key pair looks like. The private key ends with equal sign always. And let me just go down again. But Pankaj, I think instead of this document, we can explain them using that utility. That should be
yeah,
more interactive.
sure. Yeah, we can do that, Mohit.
Yeah. So this is the header generator utility that we can find in the GitHub page. Once you import this, you will be having two classes. So one is script, another one is generator. So generator contains the main function. So here you can start this utility. So this code is written in Java, but we also have the Node.js implementation for this as well. So once you start this application, you'll be having three options. One is the key pair generation. So for your application, you can use this first option to generate.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, I lost connection for some time. Mm.
Yeah. There
After
was
keep
some
your
network
generation.
issue here.
Keep your generation after that.
Okay.
Mm.
So the first step will give you the key pairs that you can use for your own purpose.
Mm.
And once we select the second option, this is nothing but the header generation. Now
Mm.
you will trigger search request, you will trigger init request and all, right? So
Mm.
for example, you are
Mm.
hitting
You're
search
not
request
supposed to
from your
change the key
UI.
pair, na? You're not supposed to change the
Sorry?
key pairs once you're generated. You are not supposed to change the key pair once you're created, I believe. Not use them only.
No,
You can
we
actually
shouldn't.
change that. But
And
you'll
you,
have to let us know if you want to if you have updated
Mm.
your key, because
okay,
otherwise,
definitely.
yeah, the pair won't work, right? So you can update
Yeah,
them,
that's
but you'll have to inform the network registry. That's the
Yeah, it should be registered in the registry, network registry.
now it is
Because if
manual.
you,
Later,
yeah,
uh,
sorry, please go ahead.
now it is manual. You can't register automatically. Something like there is no API to register, or lookup API itself is there for registering your key pair
No, no.
for that.
Lookup basically only gives you the information. It doesn't accept anything.
It- oh, mm, mm, mm.
Now the second option is if you are, for example, if you are hitting search request, right? So you want to discover doctor.
Sign.
So you will be having this payload. This is payload of search,
Yes.
and you have
Okay.
to generate headers for this. So for
Okay.
that purpose, you can use the second option to generate header. And for this, you have to enter your own details like I have here. Now I will enter for our UHI reference app. So it is asking for subscriber ID, which is UA-NHA. Once you enter this, it will ask for public key of your application. So let me enter public key. I'm sorry, it is not asking for public key. It is asking for public key ID. Let me run this again. So subscriber ID is EUA-NHA. The public key ID is the ID that you have been have been assigned to your public key. So I am entering ID over here, not public key. The next thing it will ask is for private key. So let me enter this private key.
Mm.
And the last part should be the payload. Now this will give you, in the end, this will give you header. So this header contains the same structure as that. As we can see, we have expires created, signature. We also have key ID that we just mentioned along with the algorithm name. Okay, so now our header is generated, right? Now on the other end, so if you are hitting request from EUA, it will go to UHI gateway. Now gateway has to verify this header, right? So it has to verify whether this is coming from a genuine EUA or not. So for that purpose, there is a third step, which is signed header verification. So once we do that, now it has to get the information from header, right? So we have to provide signature from header. So the signature is this that we just copied over here. We have to give it to this application. Now it is asking me the created date, right? The created date, right? So we have to copy this created date and paste over here. Now the next part is expired. It is asking me expiry timestamp.
One in type. One
And
in
the last part
continuous
is
request.
this key ID. We have to paste the entire key ID over here. And we need public key for decryption. So this should be the EUS public key. Now here, this is getting verified at UHI gateway. I mean at the other end, not at your end. So the other end has to know your public key. So that public key you will get from lookup call, as we just saw. And the public key we have to mention over here.
Hi, Mohit, are you trying to say something? Hi, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I think Mohit has some connectivity issues.
Okay.
He'll be joining soon. Bye.
Hello.
Yeah, Mohit, you're audible now.
Yeah, sorry, I lost you for a while.
Yeah, I think we can
Madhav,
go back. Your
Madhav,
screen was frozen for some time. So when you were entering on the public key ID, we can start from there on.
So is my screen visible?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we have entered this public key ID over here. And the next part it asked me is the public key of your application. So this is very, so let's say you have requested from EUA and the request is has reached to UHI gateway. So consider UHI gateway is the other end. It's not your end. Now UHI gateway has to verify whether this request has came from a genuine EUA or not. So for that purpose, we are doing this verification part. And the UHI gateway should know the EUS public key for decryption purpose because we have encrypted by EUS private key, right? So only EUS public key will be able to decrypt this. So UHI gateway will be using EUS public key along with its payload. And once we give all this information like created, expires, public key ID, the signature, sorry, the public key and the payload. Now it will verify, this utility will verify it and it will give us the result. Now here result is true, right? So that means your header is verified and your request was signed correctly. So this is the entire process of signing and verification. And you have to specify your header in this authorization header. So this will accept your header like this. So this is the process overall. Any questions? Any doubts?
Can you send this API and show us the response, please?
Which API?
This one only, the search API.
So the response is this verification result. Either you will get true or false.
No, no,
That's the
not
response. Huh?
this. I am talking about the API response from the postman.
Okay, you want to see the search request, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here this is search request for our reference from our reference EUI. So that's why we have this consumer URI over here along with this consumer ID, and we are looking for Dr. Ganesh. If we hit this, we get this acknowledgement.
Uh,
So
uh,
basically,
so in this, the timestamp and everything need not to be up to date. Like, matlab, I think the
no,
timestamp.
no. The gateway doesn't really checks in your request. Basically, UHI gateway is a dumb gateway. It doesn't look for the request. It doesn't scan your request or doesn't interpret anything from your request. It just gets it and forwards it to the HSPS.
Okay, and I am trying this on the UHI gateway sandbox.abdm.government API. Like,
You're using sandbox URL. So
yes,
we are
yes.
having
In
two
that, I am
environments.
getting error.
Okay. Okay. Can you try this production URL?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
remove sandbox from this.
Oh, this is for production. Huh?
Yes.
Hello. This that
Yes.
means
Yes.
the ABA addresses that are used will be at ABDM, not SBX. Huh?
Not specifically. You can also use SBX for this.
Because I was using end user application that you give. That with that, whenever I trigger that, I get callback in my callback URL. That's what I'm getting.
Acha.
Uh,
But mm, okay. And with that, for that search, I'm trying to give a on search request. That's what I was trying all these days.
Acha. Were you able to get on
But right,
search?
no, on search I have to implement as HSPA.
Acha. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not done it. Yeah, but for I'm getting a callback URL to my webhook because for the local environment, I've taken webhook as a callback URL.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
using it.
Correct.
I'm pushing it to my application, and from that I want to give response and on search.
Mm-hmm.
I not tried, but just now you said this, but I am not getting webhook response. Webhook search did not come for me because usually whenever I try with you end user application, I do get hit on my webhook. But this one where you triggered, I am not getting any webhook. Uh, as I'm looking from the point of HSPA, I did not get any message here.
Yeah,
This
that's
one,
because webhook is
uh,
not registered in UHI registry. That's why it's not
it
getting.
is, it is, it is, it is, it
But
is.
is it in sandbox or production? Because the environment is
This is
different.
sandbox.
Yeah,
This is
that's why
sandbox.
we
I
I am
think.
hitting production URL.
Hello.
Mm.
So I am getting error in the production URL header verification field.
Yeah, that because we have changed this, right? Consumer URI and consumer ID. You have to generate that
No,
header again.
uh,
Mm.
nee, I
Mhm.
am doing it
Mm.
like
Mm.
with our consumer ID and consumer URI.
Can you share your screen? Let's generate headers for yours request as well.
Yeah, so matlab directly we can use this and production
Implement.
URL.
It depends whether you are onboarded to production or not. I
No,
think
we are
currently
not
you are
onboarded.
onboarded to Sandbox only, I
Yes,
believe. Pankaj,
yes,
that's the case, right? Narayan
yes,
and
yes.
Pankaj?
We are on sandbox only. Like,
Okay. Okay. So you won't be getting any callback. I think this won't work.
So from end
so
user
matlab
application,
that
I can trigger it. You can
Yeah,
trigger
that
this
from
from end user application. The demo
yes,
end user
yes.
application, you can trigger and get the hit for your callback URL. From there,
Yes,
you
yes.
can
You
try
can use
implement it.
reference application as well for that.
no,
Uh,
this is not the
for-
callback URL. This is a search API call
Yeah,
only.
that I got. Yes.
Yeah, so that's why I was
mm.
using sandbox.
We have to check this internally. Let's connect offline if you are facing the same issue.
Okay, yeah.
Mm. Mm. So yes, sir. If these are all production URLs, well, what will be my base URL in the sandbox then? Postman has got all production URLs, the way you said it to us now. What will be the base URL for Sandbox then? Because they should be different.
I think Sandbox Postman contains Sandbox URLs. The
But
one
you are
that is
saying
there
you
on
are
GitHub.
using Postman. And
Yeah,
the
I
one you
have
are
changed that
using is a
later.
okay. We are got only Sandbox now, right? As of now, base
Yes,
URL.
yes, yes.
Hmm? Oh,
Basically, Sandbox URL contains Sandbox. So Sandbox is written in that URL if you want to
UHI
identify it.
Sandbox dot.
UHI Gateway
Okay.
Sandbox.
UHI Gateway Sandbox it will be. No, it is
Sorry.
UHI Gateway ABDM. No. I have got from I'll share my screen. I have got UHI Gateway dot ABDM dot gov dot in on search. This is the one. I'll show it to you now. Hold on. Maybe I'll share my. I have got a postponed collection today morning. After looking your this one, this you had sent email yesterday. From that link only I have collected. This is the URL.
Okay, so this is production link. Basically, Pankaj will share a Sandbox link as well. But Sandbox
That
is
will
not
be good.
Sandbox is nothing
Uh,
but you have to add Sandbox after gateway.
yeah, here it will be there.
Everything in small. Yeah.
Sandbox here. Yes,
Mm.
sandbox here. Huh?
UHI
Like
gateway
this.
Sandbox. Sandbox. Yeah, correct.
Hmm.
So this
Uh,
is Sandbox link.
Like
do
this,
we
I will
have
do.
any payment gateways in Sandbox? Hello. Do we have any payment gateways associated with this?
Sorry, payment gateway. What was the question? Can you come again?
For booking process or anything like that? Do we have any payment gateways associated right now?
So payment gateways are coming. I mean, payment request and the payment fulfillment happens from the HSPA side right now. So right now in the booking flow, after once the user has searched and they want to book for an appointment, the payment link and the payment gateway link is something that is sent by the HSPA. So they are the ones who are interacting with the payment providers. So right now, that is the experience that we have. So EUA is just supposed to render the payment gateway link that the HSPA sends it.
Okay, so right now the search and the booking process is only the thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
I
and
feel that
we have
Madam was finding it difficult because she was using a production URL. That's why the internal server error could be coming. Just now we had some issues, na?
No, I am not using the production URL.
You're
Yeah,
using
मतलब
the
Nandita,
sandbox
let's
URL.
let's connect
I
offline. I think we
yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions, anyone? I think Mohit is also. We are nearing our end, nearing the end of the call.
can we have a booking with teleconsultation instead of direct? Uh, can we have a booking process example with a teleconsultation?
Okay, you want to see how a teleconsultation booking works? Is
Yes,
that
yes, yes.
so? Can I request you to, if you're using an Android phone, to download either Driftcase or Pristine Care, and they have a UHI section on their app. So if you can just download that, you can see a whole user journey on their behalf, like how a UHI journey happens, essentially. Yeah.
It's in briefcase, right?
Briefcase and Pristine Care. Briefcase is available for both iOS and Android. So they are the ones who are live on UHI. So you can see how the UHI journey and the different user experiences that they have created for their users.
Okay, and the APIs and all the things is the same which right now you are explaining, right?
Yes. So Sandbox production APIs remains the same. It's just that environment has changed. So just like ABDM, you test your applications in Sandbox, and then after a certification, you move to production. The same process happens on the UHI as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
If there are no further questions, we can close this call. I'll share the recording
Please,
of this call as well. And
thank you, sir.
maybe if there are any further questions, just feel free to drop on the WhatsApp group. We'll also create a Slack
Yes.
group for you so that it's
Yes, sir.
easier for our team, tech teams, to just converse and just resolve queries there and there. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so much for joining the call. Hope you have a nice day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mohit.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you for joining.
Thanks. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you.